From the mystical breeze in the morning till the dawning of a new day.
Greetings everyone and welcome to the Sista Lil show. I hope you've all had a fantastic week, and although we had a bit of a rainstorm in the wee hours of the night, I hope that you have enjoyed your week when we had remnants of the glorious sunshine. For those of you who can't get us on the FM, we are on the internet, so it's www.blessradio.org. Now today, a little later, we're going to be having Sister Georgina in with us talking about her project. But until then, I'm going to start off with a track by Roots and Culture, and it's called Rebel Warrior.
See the youths of today need more roots and culture. They are we future. Be example, yes, for the youths, yeah. Yeah, they are we future. Live it up, live it up, live it up for the children. Teach the youths the truth and no fool them. No easy timing. Papa and mama on the front lining. Ready for some real talking. Ready for your warning, ready for your roots living, real talking. Ready for your warning, ready for the culture preaching. Let them know themselves, know where they come from, know where they're going. Kings and queens, give thanks for the royal blessings. Yeah, roots and culture is a must for you and me. Yeah, roots and culture. It's time to set we families free. Give with the roots and culture. Mama Africa. Tell them about back in the days. Make them know them have to be strong. No one could have ever come twist them down. Hey, them have to be wise. No one should have ever come tell them lies. Them have to realize roots and culture is a must, yeah. Roots and culture in our family. Roots and culture in our liberty. Roots and culture, free up community. Roots and culture, set we youths them free. Roots and culture is a must for you and me. Yeah. Roots and culture, it's time to set we families free. Give we the roots and culture. Live it up, feed the children. Give we the roots and culture. Roots and culture, feed the future. Give we the roots and culture. Live it up, feed the children. Give we the roots and culture. Roots and culture is a must, yeah. Roots and culture is the future. Roots and culture is what we need. Roots and culture, as you can see. Roots and culture in our meditation. Roots and culture, free we mind. Roots and culture feeds we soul. Roots and culture, as you can feel. Roots and culture in now we born. Roots and culture in now we blood. Roots and culture in now we brain. Roots and culture don't go nowhere. Roots and culture in now we vein. Roots and culture in now we food. Roots and culture in our clothes. Roots and culture in our air. Roots and culture anywhere. Roots and culture is a must for you and me. Yeah. Roots and culture, it's time to set we families free. Give we the roots and culture. Live it up, feed the children. Give we the roots and culture. Roots and culture, feed the future. Give we the roots and culture. Live it up, feed the children. Give we the roots and culture. Roots and culture is a must, yeah.
This next track coming up is Queen Amiga, and it's called Real Lioness.
When the wicked came against me to eat up my flesh, they stumble and them fall. They stumble and them fell. Ow, I'm in the lion's den. Queen Amiga in the lion's den. Well, me still bringing the fire again. Yeah, yeah. The battle is not for the swift, but for the ones who endure. To enter in Zion gates, your hands and your hearts must be pure. And throughout all the changing scenes of life, I'm thankful to the Father that I have survived. Babylon set up them trap on a way to see me fall. I'm executing righteousness overall. All a meditation, chant a psalm, say a prayer. That's the key before me touch the road, pick up and there. In the lion's den, I'm in the lion's den. Still I am not afraid. Because I have my friends free. Lioness and
Going to bless me, to bless me.
protecting all the little children. In the lion's den, Babylon, them try pretend. They never know this Rasta woman come figure them trouble. And if you no love chat and wickedness, you are defend me, I go blaze. So light fire again. Babylon set up them trap. They want to see me stumble. All because I'm woman cool and humble. No one was in camp against me. My heart shall not fear. My confidence is soul Africa, this lioness come from. In the lion's den, I'm in the lion's den. Still I am not afraid, because they are my friends. Real lioness in the pride, I am the queen, I set the trend, protecting all the little children. In the lion's den, Babylon, them try pretend, them never know this Rasta woman come figure them problem. If you not love Jah and wickedness, you are defend me, I go blaze the fire again. In the lion's den, it's still love for me, I send all soldiers of Jah come out and represent. If you not love Jah and necromancy, you defend, we will be blazing the fire again. Babylon set up them trap, them want to see me fall. I'm executing righteousness overall. All a meditation, chant a psalm, say a prayer. That's the key before me touch the road, figure and play air. In the lion's den, I'm in the lion's den. Still I am not afraid, because they are my friends. Real lioness in the pride, I am the queen, I set the trend, protecting all them little children. Again, in the lion's den, Babylon them try pretend, them never know this Rasta woman come figure them problems. If you not love Jah and wickedness, you are defend, we will be blazing the fire again. In the lion's den, yeah, I'm in the lion's den, but I'm still blazing the fire again, 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 again. I sing in the lion's den. Ice, Rastafari, lion poor, lioness more, treading strong in the concrete jungle.
Let's go home to Zion. Let's go home to Zion. Let's go home.
This next track we're playing is Winston Francis, and it's called Let's Go to Zion.
Going home. Zion is the only place where there is love and harmony. Zion is the only place where there is justice and equality. So let's go home to Zion. Let's go home to Zion. Let's go home to Zion. I'm going home. Going home. Rasta never let you down in Zion. Nothing never let you down in Zion. That's why I'm going home to Zion. Let's go home to Zion. Let's go home to Zion. Let's go home to Zion. I'm going home. Nothing but one by one. Rest on much two by two. I am. promised to never let you down in Zion. Nothing ever let you down in Zion. That's why I'm going home to Zion, where man can learn to love each other.
revelation time. Say this is a Gideon time. This a revelation time. Rastafari break the sea and set we free. This is a Gideon time. Good over evil and right over wrong. This a revelation time. Rastafari nothing but Jah in a school. So many educated fools, monks I and I, leading the nation into a doom. The youth cannot be fooled in this time, and with knowledge and the truth. Rasta not go run from the battlefield. It's a revelation time. Rastafari break the sea and set we free. This is a Gideon time. Good over evil and right over wrong. It's a revelation time. Rastafari break the sea and set we free. This is a Gideon time. Good over evil and right over wrong. Weeping, wailing, mourning and gnashing of teeth. And who nah no teeth I go feel the heat. Heart half it pure, hands half it clean. Hidden from the wise to the youth truth revealed. It's a revelation time, yes. I'm a Gideon time, yes. Revelation time, yes. I'm a Gideon time. It's a revelation time. Rastafari break the sea and set we free. This is a Gideon time. Good over evil and right over wrong. It's a revelation time. Rastafari break the sea and set we free. This is a Gideon time. Good over evil and right over wrong. I see the people gazing up in the sky. Yeah, they have eyes, but they are blind. David of light, still Goliath of the dark. David of light, still Goliath of the dark. This a revelation time. Rastafari break the sea and set we free. This is a Gideon time. Good over evil and right over wrong. It's a revelation time. Rastafari break the sea and set we free. This is a Gideon time. Good over evil and right over wrong. A revelation time. Say this is a Gideon time. It's a revelation time. Rastafari break the sea and it's a Rastafari break. Mount Zion. It's a revelation time. Rastafari break the sea and set we free. This is a Gideon time. Good over evil, right up. This is a Gideon time. Good over evil and right over wrong. We revelation time, yes. I'm a Gideon time, yes. Revelation time, yes. Overall, it's a revelation time. Rastafari break the sea and set we.
The thinking fire of Jah is the only activity of life. Anywhere manifestation which can acknowledge its own creative word of Jah.
I am that I am. I am that I am. Yeah. I am that I am. Yeah. I am that I am. I am that I am. Yeah. I am that I am. Yeah. Passion out of mud, passion out of clay. Passion out the red earth, my blood is there. Passion out the perfect activity. Passion out of higher mentality. Passion out the electronic body. Passion out the substance and the energy. Johnny I am that I am. I am that I am. Yeah. I am that I am. Yeah. Vibrational action of the word I am. Release of the power of creation I am. Fullness of the yes at every plan I am. Life is the only presence I am. Life is the only intelligence I am. Life is the power that can never act. Love, peace, balance, and nada I that. Perfect activity and wisdom I that. Divine love, power, and courage I that. Mighty I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. Yeah. I am that I am. Yeah. I am that I am. I am that I am. Yeah. I am that I am. Electronically, pure light filling a infinity. Save humanistic degrees and intelligently. Limitless powers beloved mighty. Conscious commands I obediently. Discipline I in out of faculties. Tremendously unconsciously flow. I am that I am. I am that I am. Yeah. I am that I am. Yeah. I am that I am. I am that I am. Yeah. I am that I am. Yeah.
The thinking fire of Jah is the only activity of life. Anywhere manifestation which can acknowledge its own creative word of Jah.
Jah, Rastafari. Thanks and praise to lengthen my days. I give thanks and praise. God, Jaja, keep my
So the
soul
previous
well
track
safe.
was for Kurt Black, I Am That I Am, and you're now listening to Murray Man.
Praise, yeah. Give thanks to the King and the Emperor. And the Almighty for what He made for us. Yeah, He made the whole wide world for
Bless
us to live
Go
in.
into to bless me, to bless me.
But over them a fall of vanity and
This one is going out special request for Beacon and for Daryl and Deck. Hope you guys are having a great time.
I know for them backbiting, I know for them looting, and they don't listen to what I say. And they preachers keep preaching, and them preaching up the doctrine, and nobody not listening to a word that He says. 'Cause the devil is among us every day. Why? So I pray to Jah to keep him away. Yeah, so I give thanks and praise to lengthen my days. I give thanks and praise. God, Jaja, keep my soul well safe. I give thanks and praise to lengthen my days. I give thanks and praise. Yeah. See, you really got to know where you're coming from. Yeah, to look to the future where you're going to. The evil on the left and the good on the right side. Yeah. In this your time you got to try and make the right choice. And one, what goes around will come back around. Don't be a fool and don't be no clown, because we standing on solid ground. So give thanks and praise for life. I give thanks and praise to lengthen my days. I give thanks and praise. Oh, wow. I give thanks and praise. Jah, Rastafari. Thanks and praise to lengthen my days. I give thanks and praise. God, Jaja, keep my soul well safe.
steady meditation.
This next track is King Kong and Christine Miller. It's called Rasta Live On. I hope you're feeling the vibration, people out there. Setting you up for your weekend, so here we go.
Rasta live on. Rasta live on. And we give praise to Jah for the dawn. Rasta live on. Rasta live on. And we give praise to Jah for the dawn. Make the heathen warm. Make the heathen warm.
Bless me. Go in tune to bless me. Tune to bless me.
Make the heathen warm. Make the heathen warm. After a storm must be a calm. Oh!
Come and ring the alarm, holy Rastafari sons and daughters from near and far. No matter where in the world you rest, so you may be caressed by the fly, the ice cold and green. For our good, our pleasant it is to see Rastafari soldiers standing shoulder to shoulder, giving thanks for the life we are living. Lift up our voices and come and make we sing.
Rasta live on. And we give praise to Jah for the dawn. Rasta live on. Rasta live on. I give praises to Jah for the dawn. Hey.
Hailing Rastafari, yes, we're hailing the King Emperor Haile Selassie I and Empress Mene. Praise be to King Alpha, praise be to Queen Omega. To the powers of the Most High, we are still standing strong. For blessed are who are chosen from a generation. To behold King Alpha, to behold Queen Omega. Rasta man, stand firm and hold a steady meditation. Rasta woman, stand firm and hold a steady meditation. For no matter what the heathen do, no matter what they say, call a Rastafari, give him eyes every day. In time of need is he who heed their supplication. So come make we sing of King Kong.
Rasta live on. Rasta live on. And we give praise to Jah for the dawn. Rasta live on. Rasta live on. And he give praise to Jah for the dawn. So make the heathen warm. Make the heathen warm. After a storm must be a calm. Make the heathen warm. Make the heathen warm. After a storm must be a calm. Oh!
Come make we ring the alarm, holy Rastafari sons and daughters from near and far. No matter where in the world you rest,
Can't miss out Changa. I hope you're vibing.
Rasta live on. Rasta live on. Rasta live on. I give
this track is Dennis Brown, and it's So Just Say.
If I do, I'm gonna have to pay. So just say, no, 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 let him down, let him down. So just say, no, let him
Coming
down,
up shortly, we're going to start the interview with Sister Georgina.
rescue this day. He's gonna find you anyway. So just say, no, 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 let him down, let him down. So just say, no, let him down, let him down. No, no, no. Oh yeah now. Oh yeah now. Oh now, now, now. I said to fear the Lord, yeah. He is to hate evil. Pride and arrogance, woe, and other evil ways. I said the fear of the Lord, yeah. I used to hate evil. Pride and arrogance, woe, and other evil ways. So just say, no, 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 let him down, let him down. So just say, no, let him down, let him down. 'Cause if you do, you're gonna have to pay. If you do, you're gonna have to pay. So just say, no, 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 let him down, let him down. Ooh, yeah. So just say, no, let him down, let him down. Ooh, yeah. Oh, now, now, now. Not one of you see just sit in the sidewalk and they grave. Oh, no, no. Oh, no, no. There'll never be, none of their children will ever be. Ooh, yeah, I live in there. To God to hell. Ooh, yeah, to God to hell, yeah. Got to hell down there. Ooh, yeah, got to hell. No cigarette smoking in my room. I still want Marley. Bless FM radio, play good tune.
Power is the ability to define someone's reality and have that person accept that definition as if it were their own.
Everything was stripped from us. That's why we're so ignorant today and so baffled and ridiculous and keep going in the same circle.
From executive producer, who has appeared on The Tonight Show, Late Night with Conan O'Brien, and various MTV and VH1 programs.
Our history, for some reason, it becomes offensive to people. So we have to stop being afraid to tell what our true history is.
Best-selling author Tariq Nasheed is determined to uncover the real truth about untold history.
It's necessary to destroy a man's mind in order to maintain control of him. If a man knows who he is and continues that into his legacy, to his children, then you have problems controlling that man.
Interviewing leading scholars and historians, discussing topics omitted from modern history.
Only a people who haven't learned how to respect themselves will let someone suggest themselves that they forget about their history.
Hidden Colors, the untold history of people of Aboriginal, Moor, and African descent. The groundbreaking documentary that challenges conventional knowledge.
I don't really think it's hidden. It's there. It's just that they're not allowing us to understand.
Rastafari Movement UK and putting on a rally for emancipation and reparation.
I came today solely for the purpose of bringing my daughter. My daughter needs to know and see black unity.
There's entertainment, speakers, and lots of stalls with an array of
Being
products.
around my own people in unity and spirit. Everything. All black people coming together, uniting and being one.
It was a great day and the food was great.
My day was good. I loved it. It was very article, and I love the artists. I love the information and the words sound put out. The crowd is beautiful, and the sun come out from Jah. So yes, every year I will come.
Rasta Heights.
Yeah, we've been on the Ethiopian vibration for a long time, my love. We give come someplace the most time, Rastafari, you know?
A massive and sound system.
Yes, I am.
From here in Chantrad until this hour. Yeah, man, roots and culture and reality.
Beautiful, man, beautiful. It was a real day of African solidarity. And I think the people felt the day, you know? So everyone left the venue with something positive.
A free annual community family fun day, the 5th Africa International Day of Action, Saturday 18th of August from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Kennington Park. Brought to you by the Rastafari Movement UK and EWF Incorporative Local 3 London. More information, Rastafari Movement UK at yahoo.co.uk.
This is called the cancer bush.
Oh, I've heard of this. The cancer bush.
It is from nature that diseases arise, and from nature comes the cure. Dr. Paracelsus. Cancer bush, the hidden herb that supports and treats cancer patients, is brought to you by Mother Nature's traditional herbal remedies. Cancer bush is the miracle herb and can also treat these following conditions: cancer, chronic fatigue, depression, diabetes type 2, piles, hot flushes, gonorrhea, syphilis, hemorrhoids, chlamydia, rheumatoid arthritis, tuberculosis, HIV/AIDS, mental stress, lupus influenza, swine flu, and more. To find out more, and if you or a loved one are suffering from the following conditions, please head over to our website on www.cancerbush.org.uk. If you'd like to email us, please email at info@cancerbush.org.uk. You can also call us on 0208 993 4870. That's 0208 993 4870. Or 07943 144 544. That's 07943 144 544. Cancer bush, the miracle herb.
Campro Entertainment's Plush Promotions and Bojangles Bar presents The Brothers Meets the Sisters in celebration of 50 years of reggae music on Saturday 18th of August 2018 at Bojangles, 10 Church Road, Chingford, E46SJ. DJs bringing you a night of musical harmony representing the brothers Daddy Ansi Melabostic, DJ Stein the System, and Mosty G Equation Roadshow. Representing the sisters, DJ Cameo Bless Radio, Rankin Merva from Roots FM, plus newly crowned Lovers in Revival Cup champion Rasta Queen and MC Sister Sheba. Music policy, revival, roots reggae, lovers rock, reggae vocals and 90s ragga. Tickets are £12 in advance or £15 at the door. Available from the DJs, James Shuke, Hawkeye, Maestro and Everybody Music, plus Eventbrite and Blacknet. For info, call Campro Ents on 07984 356 341. Smart dress essential and photo ID will be required.
Well, this is the higher meditation because these are the times right now the earth is moving in a positive vibration. People, them are wake up and rise up. These are the times that we are talking about. Keeping it positive, keeping it real. King Selassie Rastafari govern the earth and the people them. You see me, I say, yeah.
Rastadaya, Rastadaya, Rastadaya. This is the Shaka from station to station to tell the generation and the nations. Rastafari. Education is the key. All youth strive for development. Rastafari. Love is the key. You can give them that message from me.
Them a wonder how blessed radio do this. I see them come with some go.
Future profit, tell them we locks get longer. He then not it on it. Brass radio, you don't know. Pop the good music. Play them.
Best FM I no cigarette smoking in my room. Yeah, I Stephen Marley. Best FM radio play good tune.
And tonight we're going to be talking with a wonderful sister called Georgina, who is the founder of 2H1H. Now, Georgina is a treasure in our community. She is a tower of strength, a survivor, and has battled amidst dire situations. And I guess I would say her sheer willpower and determination, reminiscent of the strength of our ancestors, is a true example of striving and fighting for her family against all the odds. So, Sister Georgina, welcome to Bless Radio.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Now, Sister Georgina, the project that you started is called 2H1H. What does it stand for?
So it's 2 hands, 1 heart.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's
you.
beautiful. And what is your project about?
So the gist of it is that we are a respite company that works and supports single parent families that are battling cancer and other terminal health issues. We're there to kind of bridge the gap between all services that essentially are supposed to support single parent families.
Oh, wonderful. It's a wonderful and much needed project to bring to the community, sis. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
And for your courage, as many people are afraid within the community and plagued with feelings of being ashamed to voice their need for help and support. And I guess they shy away from asking because, and then they end up suffering in silence, because we do have very judgmental structures within our cultural form.
Within our within our culture, within services, within our own day-to-day structures, what we have ourselves, because we are our biggest critics. So I think there's definitely of gaps that we need to bridge with the service that we intend to provide.
Absolutely. And I guess many people do snob coming forward and contributing to this need and this particular area within our community. But I must say that one of the areas in the community who've been leading on this is like what you've been trying to do, Sister Georgina, is in Rastafari, one of our principles is the hungry should be fed, the elders looked after, the children cared for, protected. It's a firm principle within the Rastafari community. Showing love and care to others is a status quo. So to see that actually trickling out into the rest of our community as it was previously when our elders first got here is a beautiful thing to see. That's amazing, wonderful.
Thank you.
So sis, why and when did you start taking an interest in parental support for single parents or single families with a conditional illness?
I mean, to be fair, it's an up and coming thing that I've been doing for at least 2 years now. I have my own personal experience within this situation, which kind of brought me to where I am now. I had reached out to a local service provider on the pretext, that I'm a single parent. I had major surgery upcoming and I needed support for my children so that I could go and do my major surgery and so forth. And when I had reached out to them, their best course of support was to remove all 4 of my children from my home.
Wow.
It wasn't really a case of remove them short term, it was a case of remove them long term, put them in individual foster care placements, including the fact that I have twins that were at the time 3 years of age, as being a single parent and my eldest daughter's 18, it's quite difficult for not only the children to experience something like that, but at the helm of being a cancer patient at the time, it would have been that much more traumatic for us as a family to go through and experience and be separated. So it was like, well, how is that gonna help my situation? How is that gonna emotionally and mentally support us, irrespective of the fact that I'm a single parent? So from speaking to services and so forth like that, there was no real support that they could offer me. So I then had to kind of extradite them from being a part of my house to then kind of start to kind of mature that much more to say, okay, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to put in place in order for me to have this life-changing surgery, to make sure that the kids were supported without any disruption to my household. And through godparents, my sister, and other family members or family friends as such, it then got into a point where we were able to put certain things in place. My children's school was so supportive, and that's both the elder school and the younger school. They were so supportive in regards to going above and beyond their job means in order to support us.
That's wonderful, and give thanks for the support network that you did have around you in such a time of like uncertainty and also fear. It was quite a high driving emotion in that situation.
It was definitely major, especially for the kids, because I think even as a parent sometimes we don't really kind of grasp what the child is going through outside of what we're feeling. So to then make sure that they were supported both emotionally and physically with things to do to keep them occupied was part of the struggle in making sure that the right support was in place, because otherwise you then kind of go into your own struggles whilst you're dealing with treatment, being seen by medical physicians and stuff like that, and it's like, well, I've got to take care of myself and I then still have to take care of the children as well.
So it's a two-part support that you need, not just for whatever condition the individual's going through, whether it's the parent or child, but also the emotional side as well, because of the challenges. And you get your emotions, I guess, will be stretched to the furthest
to no
points.
end.
So supporting people on that is a great need, because so many of us are going through this in silence.
Yeah, and I think especially within our community, there's a lot of pride as well that comes alongside whatever illnesses we're going through. There's also that whole cultural element of, you know, children are to be seen and not heard as well, and a lot of us were raised with that kind of principle. So certain things, you know, you don't necessarily want to discuss with your children, but I think it's definitely a growing curve with me, and it's definitely a learning experience, because at the end of the day it's about each one teach one sort of thing, and if we're able to do that both with the young children and the elders and ourselves, then it's a pattern that we can begin to build positively and pass it down to the next generation and so forth after that.
That's fantastic, sis, because it's building that bridge, because there is lots of gaps between generations in our community, and lack of communication between either side.
And understanding as well.
Absolutely.
And understanding. And I think for me, because my parents had us at a quite older stage, so there was a lot of that children to be seen and not heard. There was a lot of things that only now as a parent myself that I'm actually starting to grasp, well, actually maybe that's why they said that and didn't teach us that, or maybe that's why they withheld certain information from us, because it was still part of that children are to be seen and not heard element. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm going to ask you now a two-part question.
Okay.
And the first one is, how do you provide better support for our single parent families dealing with illness? So for example, what services do you offer parents? What tools or strategies do you equip them with?
Well, I mean, it's Each family's different, firstly. So, to whereas I'll use myself as an example because I've kind of got to structure my project with myself in that sense. So, there's a lot of things that I wasn't willing to accept in terms of outside services, support, and outside services being able to give me additional information about what they were doing. So for us, we offer person-centered support whereby we go through 5 outcomes, being nutrition, the physical element, whether it's exercise, training, or anything additional that would be needed for physical support, mental, emotional, social well-being as well. So we kind of tailor each one of those factors, make sure that the adult or the child is equipped with the relevant skills to be confident, the relevant skills to be able to speak out about the ailments that the parents are dealing with, or vice versa, for the child to speak out about what the parents are dealing with. We also tend to break everything down in terms of nutrition and being able to subject a raw food diet into the day-to-day nutritions for the families. We tailor everything specifically for each family so that all areas of those 5 outcomes are achieved. The family's not as distressed in terms of emotional well-being. If there's anything that's missing outside of that, then we get to break it down with the families individually. We also break it down for the children as well, so they can speak out about what their needs may be.
Oh, fantastic. Well, you've answered part 2, so give thanks.
Yes.
That's wonderful. So do you then offer counselling sessions to deal with emotional trauma, whether it be the adult or the child?
So we have counselling. However, my thing is that every family is different again, and not each family needs counselling in the grand scheme of things. So counselling could be just that listening ear for the family to be able to be vent about the things that they're going through. Counseling could be, you know, having somebody to respond to your queries or your questions or whatever it is you're dealing with. Counseling in the sense of therapy, so the therapy could be, you know, Reiki, that's the foot massage. It could be anything, because I think in order to say counseling, you then kind of go into the psychotherapy and all of that aspect, and sometimes it can get a bit overwhelming, because I know for me, I don't like that whole counseling idea. I don't like to feel that I'm in that grand scheme or in that kind of professional element. I want to be able to feel as though I'm having a conversation, which then allows me to be that much more open, that much more relaxed about what I want to talk about, and then it allows me to open up about things that I may not even know are present and want to discuss about. So each family is different again.
Okay. And could you share with us an example of a complex child or adult protection case that you were involved in?
Sorry, sis, what was that?
So, can you share with us an example, like of a complex child or adult case that you were involved with, and how you resolved the issues for family support?
So we have a family currently that are dealing with a multiple of illnesses within the household, and I think the major issue would be with the parent. However, we've now come to highlight that the children actually need additional support. They weren't as confident and as put together in regards to some of the situations that they were dealing with at school. So whether that's bullying or just antisocial behavior that's in and around their circle, it's now come to highlight that one of the children is being bullied, and we are now kind of liaising with the school to work out whether it's a inside the school issue or whether it's actually kind of reflecting on the behavior that's happening outside. Because if you know, sometimes at schools, you know, after school everybody congregates outside school and so forth, and some of the situations that have been highlighted with this child are happening outside of school. So it's not that it's having too much of an adverse effect on the child's behavior, but some of the things that the peers are doing and the people that are around this child is having a side effect on the child and the behaviors at home. And now that we've highlighted that, it's opened a bit more of a relationship between the parent and the child, because then they can now talk about things. When the child comes home, the parents can kind of question about the day-to-day stuff that's been happening, and it's opened up the child a little bit more in the responses that the child is giving. So now that the parents and the child have not necessarily got a full understanding, but they're speaking to each other a lot more, they're being a bit more open about some of the things what they're dealing with, so it's then opening the parent to be a little bit more relaxed in what they're doing. And as opposed to stressing about the child constantly, it's, well, you know, my daughter's okay today, she's reached out to me, as opposed to she's gone off to school and she hasn't even told me I love you, she's just left and gone. But now the structure's starting to kind of replace the uncomfortable feeling that was there before, so it's then opened both to be a bit more comfortable. So there's less tension in the house, there's less screaming and shouting between the mother and the child and so forth like that.
And that's so important. And it creates the space that is the safest for the child to be able to start communicating and expressing their feelings, which is such a nurturing journey for that child within their development stage.
Especially in a single parent household.
Yeah. So that's a fantastic process that you go through with those families. And for the children to have somebody that can put that structure in. Because sometimes as a parent, I guess you're just in the midst of your flow, you're dealing with all these things, and you don't have to listen, don't bother me, you know, you have a lot of that because you yourself are contorted with a lot of stress and emotional pain yourself. So, you know, it's not to take away from the parents, but it's really nice that there is this support that can be offered to help ease the weight
that these parents are feeling. And I think, to be fair, even if we have parents on board that don't necessarily feel that they need the support, the good thing is being open to the support for the children. Because I think for me, it's about structuring and organizing your household so you as the parent have less stress. Because as a sufferer of certain ailments myself, I know firsthand that if I'm worried about my kids, then worrying about the kids is my priority. I don't have anything else in my brain other than making sure these kids are comfortable, they're happy, they're being fed, and everything is being focused primarily on the kids. However, if I know comfortably that, you know, the emotional side of my children is being covered, whether it's by myself or with an additional support, then I don't feel so conflicted, because I can get on, I can multitask with the different things that I need to do, and still in the back know, yeah, these kids are emotionally okay. They may not want to talk to me about my ailments, they may not want to kind of discuss the fullness of what I'm going through, but they're so comfortable within their own skin, they're so comfortable about what's going on around us, that if they were to just jump up and randomly throw a question at me, I don't freeze. And that's how I used to be. It was, you know, like, it's not necessarily an embarrassment, but like you highlighted earlier, there's a certain amount of pride that comes with being sick. And for me, my personal experience, a lot of these things what I'm kind of tailoring our program on is based on how I felt. And I didn't want any kind of professional service in my household. I felt slightly embarrassed in the sense of, you know, I'm having to reach out. But in the grand scheme of things, if I'm a single parent, not by choice, then I shouldn't genuinely feel uncomfortable to reach out.
There is absolutely nothing for anyone to feel uncomfortable with, you know, because there are many people within our community who will be welcoming and open arms to people. They're just waiting for those who are suffering to come to them. But yeah, there's no shame, because, you know, we're living in a global age anyway, and everything is exposed on the internet.
Yeah.
So just to say to somebody who's by your side, listen, I really don't feel good today.
Yeah, definitely.
That's so important.
So important. And as time goes on and I get a better understanding of myself and my body and how to kind of manage all the things that I'm going through, it's definitely a balance and an equal opportunity of knowing, do you know what, there's other people that are experiencing similar things. There are other people that feel the same way how I do, and it's that extra comfort to know, do you know what, there is other people going through this, so I'm not by myself. I can actually reach out to people within this service to say, you know, like you said, I don't feel too great today. How can you help me? What can you do to make me feel uplifted?
Yeah.
What can you do to motivate me just that little bit more?
Absolutely. And some people are going through such a trying time that, you know, there are some who will, oh, what do they need that for? Oh, they're so weak. No, it's not a weakness to need support. I think putting that pressure on people is unfair, because you don't know what their journey is, and you don't know what emotion they are going through, and what the pain is that they're feeling inside, and the fear when they have something going wrong with their physical selves. So being there for people and just showing that kind, you know, a helping hand, being kind.
Each one to each one, really.
Exactly. Exactly. So so what kind of like mentoring so the mentoring service that you have?
The mentoring service is broken down in two ways. So we have one that's tailored for the adults, and that is basically about empowerment, confidence building, self-esteem building, being open to speak about whatever illnesses you are going through, being open to speaking to others and kind of invoking the truth about what we're experiencing to then help others. The other aspect of it is for the children, because there are some families that have, you know, antisocial behavior within their household. They have disruption within their household, and we want to be able to encourage and motivate the young people, because sometimes we're not, it's not to say that we're victims, but, you know, we're not purposefully put in certain circumstances and have the ability to deal with certain things. So the mentoring side for children would be to uplift them, to give them that extra kind of encouragement of, you know, your parents sick, however, we understand. We're here to help you. We're here to help kind of uplift you in the same time, but we're also here to give you that additional support. If you feel that you're not getting it from your parent, we're here to kind of invoke the reasons to why you may not be getting it, because at the end of the day, the parents aren't necessarily going out of their way to be dismissive of their child.
No, they could be just absolutely exhausted.
Exactly. And that's what we want to invoke our mentors to open our children's mind to being able to understand.
Yeah, wonderful. That is wonderful. And I read that you have, what is an ETE coordinated program for those accessing?
So ETE is education, training, employment. So there are families that are employed, whether it's full-time, part-time, and still battling these terminal illnesses or ill health, or however you like to look at it. So for those that do not fit that employment circle, we have a team that's dedicated to not only encourage but to also kind of push you in the right direction to get yourself into education, training, or employment, because it's not everybody that's suitable for employment, especially if they're ill. However, there are training courses that they could do just to kind of keep their brain ticking over and keep them motivated. There are apprenticeships. There are so many different things that they could be involved in that will keep them stimulated. So we want to provide that additional support by keeping everything in-house. So even though these are different categories and these are different subjects where we'd, in a grand scheme of things, you'd need multiple advisors for, multiple people for, we'll have the multiple people, but we'll just have it under one umbrella. So at some point you will have seen the education, training, employment advisor. However, you may not have been needed to be signposted to that person at that time. Do you know what I mean? So it's about familiarity. It's about kind of keeping consistency as well and making sure everybody's comfortable.
Yeah, and that's a fantastic program to be running as well, alongside all the other things that your service is offering, because often when somebody is very ill, you'll find that you'll sit in a room and silent, or you'll just sit and have that festering in your mind.
Yeah.
And your energy will just get lowered and lowered and lowered. So doing this, like, to keep people on a focus, and give them something that is an incentive. It's an incentive to keep going forward.
Keep them motivated, kind of keep them encouraged and keep them on board. At the end of the day, we're here to support, motivate, encourage, and try to get everybody to their best outcomes. So in order to do that, like I said, again, it's about consistency. It's about making sure that everybody's comfortable. It's about endurance and kind of trying to stay focused that where there's a will, there's a way. And we're here to provide both the will and the way.
Fantastic. And is this service only in a particular borough, or can it be accessed from across London?
So at the minute, it is currently in the Haringey borough. We are looking at putting it out into other local boroughs as well. We've since spoken to Newham borough and are currently trying to work out how we can facilitate it in their borough as well. We've been approached by a branch that's actually in Liverpool.
Oh, wonderful.
So we're definitely getting out there, but now it's about kind of building the team and making sure we're all on the same page to reach our outcomes.
Absolutely. And I was listening to you mention about people you employ, but do you work with volunteers? And are those volunteers, like, do they have a specific, do you look for specific skills, or are they kind of mentored themselves and trained or guided into?
I think, to be fair, you definitely have to have a care background. So essentially parents, essentially people who have worked within the care facility, social workers, support workers, because then you have that kind of understanding of working with others. It's not to say that anybody in the retail or any other industry may not have the same skills. It's just that you're more directly dealing with situations that are related to disadvantaged, vulnerable, people who may be coming from a worse demographic than what we live in currently. It's about trying to make sure that the genuine support that we're giving is coming from genuine people who have an understanding of day-to-day situations, who have that certain element of patience, because as a parent, your primary requirement is patience. Do you know what I mean? Just to be the best parent that you can be, nevertheless to be able to coordinate and organize your household. So I think care background essentially, but it's not to say somebody from any other background wouldn't be accepted. We just need to interview you and make sure that you are the best that you are in order to deliver our service, because what we don't want is to have recruited the wrong people and then sold the wrong vision. Because if they're not like-minded like myself and some of the other team members that we have on board, then we're going to struggle, and then we're going to then be at a disadvantage because we're not giving our best by getting the best people to support.
Absolutely. So yeah, no, you definitely it's very important to have that balance within a team structure, because you're only as strong as your weakest link. So I guess it's very important to make sure that we don't have a weak link, and if there is somebody who is weaker, to help them to
motivate and uplift.
Definitely. Absolutely. So so is there a cost for this service, or like how does it work? So say if I was really ill, or or somebody was ill, they came to you. Yeah, knock wood. Thank you. I hope you all heard that knocking. And came to access the service because the individual was struggling, had a lot of different illnesses. So would they get to your service through a benefit scheme? Like, can they go through their benefits through their local council, or do they just come to you directly, and how does it work?
Well, we're quite open at the moment in terms of referral structure. So you can self-refer, you can be referred by your school, you can be referred by your GP. We've kind of opened it in regards to how we recruit families and their children as such. However, in terms of payment, so there's quite a few ways that we're trying to grasp how we would get paid for our services as such. If you're coming through a referral system whereby you're coming through from the schools, then we're hoping to get the schools to pay towards the outcomes, because at the end of the day, the grand scheme of this project is to get better outcomes, both for the family, both for the children. So with the schools, it would be a case of we charge the schools on a pay by results sort of scheme, and we'd have the intention to ensure that the children reached a certain wavelength of behavior if behavior was the issue. We try to make sure that the parents were, if they weren't working, they were in a suitable position to go into work, and vice versa. It's about achieving the best outcomes for all those that are involved. So if it's way by of GP service, then we would charge the GP for ensuring that their patients have the best outcomes. And I think that's something that we all kind of need to try and get a grasp on, because in society a lot of things are based on statistics and outcomes. And if we're going to use the philosophy of, we want the best outcomes, then if I'm able to provide 10 families with ensuring that them and their children reached employment, education, training, were able to kind of stand on their own 2 feet to support themselves financially and any other way possible, then if the government's goal is to get the best outcomes, then by all means we could charge the government for the service.
Of course, because it is providing a valuable service, and it's also bridging a gap. But what is it that you offer that's different to say the local boroughs, I guess their children and families departments? So what's the difference?
The niche with ours is that everything is included. So I've noticed a lot of these services concentrate on one particular aspect of support. So whether that's if they're working with health, then they're focusing on the health itself. If they're working with children's and families, they're focusing on making sure, the child has a roof over their head, or whatever the case may be. With our project, we've got all of those things covered under the one umbrella. So we've got health, we have mental health, we have the physical aspect, we have the social aspect, and we have the emotional aspect. So we're making sure all of those 5 outcomes are being looked after and achieved to their best ability.
Fantastic. That's fantastic, because there is a gap in providing that some of the support, some of the areas of support you just mentioned. There is a gap where parents are not getting the emotional support that they need. They're not getting sometimes the level of physical support that they need. And definitely, even this week I've seen a few people that I've known who haven't got that support for children with, say, disabilities.
Exactly.
For example, needing respite, or needing someone to stay with them overnight whilst the child is asleep, so that they can actually have a full night's sleep. Yeah.
And this is what we're here to bridge the gap of, because in that instance, as a people, we're very quick to kind of throw blame on people on their day-to-day activities and what happens in their house and how they've managed to get to that point. But what we're missing is the grand scheme of, well, in that sort of household, the worst case scenario is mental health. Yeah. The worst case scenario is the child being removed from the household. Yeah. But at the end of the day, if we're able to bridge the gap between those situations and initiate a certain amount of support that will help or kind of stop that from happening, then why would we not do that?
Absolutely, absolutely. And yes, there is a lot of taboos around this word mental health, because you know, severe levels of depression and feeling down and low is also mental health. So it's like looking at it at a broader spectrum rather than the stereotype of what mental health is, and actually relating to a broader understanding, so that we're not prejudging people in such a harsh manner.
Definitely agree. And I think in the society that we're growing up in nowadays, there's a lot of stigma around a lot of stereotypes. Single parents are deemed a disadvantaged group of people, but at the end of the day, you could have been married and, you know, ended up separated, and now you're a single parent. But if I wasn't to say that, you wouldn't know. You would just know, you know, I'm a single parent. However, the grand scheme of being a single parent isn't to then be scorned or for people to be frowning upon the situation. It's, well, okay, you're a single parent. What can I do to help you? How can I support you? Is there anything outstanding that you need that I'm able to provide you with?
Yeah, absolutely. You're correct, because you know, we sing a song of unity and working together in a community. We also make a lot of reference to our elders who were supportive, very much so, with each other. I remember my grandparents being, you know, having an open door policy. Every minute someone else was walking in, you know, can I have some sugar, can I have this? Or she'd go around to Miss Mays for something, and people were, we have to go around to Miss Mays because she's not feeling well, we've got to get the kids. And
that's no longer the case now, is it?
But we need to rebuild that, to seeing, you know, what you're doing within your project, to helping to take us back to our traditional ways of being supportive and working in harmony and unity together.
Yep. Unity being the key word right now. Unity.
Absolutely. And unity is not just, you know, standing together with your fist up in the air
or your placard.
It's about being more it's more tangible than that. It's about having a hands-on approach. Actually treating people how you want to be treated within your own community. So if you wish somebody showed you a bit of care, or, you know, can I help you with this, or you're walking past someone, you can see they're struggling, maybe they've got a limp or something.
Worst one.
Help them with their shopping bags.
But you know what, the funny thing is, because of how society is now, even that gesture of helping somebody might actually get you in trouble. Because, you know, like, it's like, oh, well, I never asked for any help. Did you see, did it look to you like I was struggling or something like that? And it's being able to be open to taking that help, because like a lot of us, we grew up in that kind of era where, you know, you only say hello to your closest neighbor, and that would probably be the one that's literally shares the wall with you. Outside of that, you kind of just walk with your face held high, but you don't really say hello. And it's like, when I was younger, everybody was saying hello. You say hello to the gentleman at the corner shop. Do you know what I mean? You're walking across the morning. But now it's really rigid. Nobody doesn't want to say hello. Nobody doesn't want to smile. Everybody's going about their day-to-day business. And there's not an issue with that. But there's a slight element of humility, because it's like, why can't I smile and be just smiling because I'm having a good day? Why have I got to be deemed miserable on the premise that I've said hello, but my face is stuck up in a certain way and I don't want to say hello? But
And
why though?
The thing is, when we're doing or operating like that within the community, we're actually missing the point here. And that point is, within our community, we have one of our cultural sentiments is that or cultural practices is that when we pass each other, we say a greeting, morning, evening, night, good day. We nod to each other, as many of you have seen the elders doing. So what we're doing is desecrating something very important to the fabric of who we are as a people, and that needs to be reignited. So yes, I think we need to stop fearing each other and actually start loving each other.
And I think it would help with the younger generation as well, because if we're not able to pass on any of this positivity, what we're talking about in regards to saying hello, it's the simplest of things. I mean, you could say a greeting to somebody in the morning and you don't even know that could actually be the highlight of their day.
Yeah, or a smile. It doesn't cost you to smile
Nothing
at
at all.
someone.
It's free,
Just
literally.
Or to be absolutely, or just to be polite, because that person you're growling at or being screw-faced at or pushing up your your top lip at and all this, like cutting your eye out, all these sorts of things that go on. You know that it doesn't, you're not sending out any positive energy, and actually that has a domino effect. What you've done is the frisbee.
The vibrations, Wakanda forever.
Absolutely. So it's not really a positive or progressive behavior to engage in. I mean, we all get people who don't want to say hello to you back, but you can't watch that. No. You go along your merry way. You still be that positive person.
You have to be, because then you just pass on something positive, somebody else passes it on, and it just goes round in a nice circle, as opposed to, like Lilith said, it's a domino effect, which then leaves negativity, and the energies that you're putting out there then come back to yourself in the wrong way, and then you're kind of left with, oh, I feel a bit pooey today, but
absolutely,
it wasn't needed. If I'd have just smiled back at the person what smiled at me earlier, I wouldn't have that problem.
Because you do find that you do see people catching themselves afterwards. They'll look back.
Yeah, but that's the guilt as well, because it's like, oh, I should have just smiled, because it's free again. I should have just smiled, or I should have just said good morning, because sometimes you get those people who you'll say good morning to in the spirit of being, feeling good or feeling pleasant or feeling high in that sense, and it's like, oh, is it? I mean, the other day my friend said to me, apparently
this is so true.
He had bumped into somebody told him good morning, and when he went to say good morning back, apparently the person had said, like, well, it is a good morning until you didn't acknowledge it being a good morning.
Oh dear.
And it was like, well, you didn't even give them a millisecond to even respond.
You just jumped down their throat. Ooh.
But that left them with like a bitter taste in their mouth, which then when somebody else said good morning, they didn't even want to say good morning. And it's again that domino effect, like, oh, well.
And to be honest, there's just really no need.
Yeah.
It's like, sort it out.
Just say good morning. Yes. Say to your neighbor, hi, how are you today?
That's it. Or smile. If you don't want to talk, just, because you do see this.
It's free.
Yeah. Because imagine that one of these people that you behave like that is an individual who is going through a lot of pain. On any level, emotional, physical, psychological, and you may have just sent them over the edge on that particular day. You may just have put that cherry on that cake,
or, and it's sad.
Or poured a bit of rum on your rum and raisin.
Hey,
You
And
know
it's
that black
sad,
cake.
though. It's sad because at the end of the day, you're allowing the negativity to consume yourself, which then kind of passes it on to somebody else, and then again the domino effect, and it just keeps going on and on until it reaches your doorstep. And now, as opposed to coming in your house with all that positivity from your day and how you're feeling, you've now sucked up all that negative energy and brought it into your household.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's that kind of vibration continuously also affects your health. So why Sister Georgina and I are talking about just how we conduct ourselves in our interpersonal relationships within the community on just a basic level of greetings and being polite in a traditional way rather than following the status quo of mainstream society, is that we are, as you know, all trying to build a better future for the generations that come to follow us.
Yes, by all means.
So, leading by example from now of how you conduct yourself and allowing the children the pleasure of actually seeing us operate in our true and correct way.
Definitely agree, because then again it passes on that positiveness, it passes on the positive energy, it passes on the positive being, which then allows the new generation to incorporate that into their day to day. Because at the end of the day, I think for me, I don't want my children to be too stuck up in the sense that they don't have the comfortability to say good morning, good afternoon to an elder who's looked at them and appreciated the beauty that is the children, to then say morning, sister, and all it takes is that simple reply for them and the child to go on with their daily business without feeling uncomfortable. And that's what we need to try and step away from, being able to just say hi. Not everybody's fearful, not everybody's having a bad day, not everybody's in a bad mood. Sometimes you could just smile, even you don't even have to say hello sometimes.
Absolutely.
It's the body language as well.
Absolutely. That's so true, sis. So true. But I wanted to ask you two other questions.
Yes, go ahead.
And one of them is, do you use alternative health technology, like holistic ways and methods to actually offer a different way rather than a mainstream way?
Yes. Now, that is something that we have incorporated. However, what we don't want to take away is the mainstream way of looking after people, because then we'll be deemed an alternative, and that's not what we're trying to do. What we're trying to say is there's different ways. Like, take an orange for example. Many of us will do the traditional way of peeling it with our hands. However, there are some of us that will use a tool to peel it, but you're still able to eat the orange.
I like that.
So for me, we have many different routes of working with medication, without medication, with the holistic approach, with like crystals and all different elements. However, what I need to be very clear on is I'm not taking away what the NHS are doing. What I'm here to do is give an additional supportive tool to be able to understand the things that we're going through health-wise. So some of my ailments, I've lessened some of the NHS medication and taken an alternative to, but the NHS medication is in the background. So it's not to say that we're given an alternative, we're given additional support in different ways.
No, that's wonderful, because there's parts of the world where there is that unity between holistic medicine or holistic practices and like more formulae or mainstream of their particular society, the medical treatment. So you in other parts of the world, that is what people are.
What they stem from,
that merging of the two so that they work in unity. That's wonderful, sis.
And I think the good thing is that, you know, we're not taking away what the NHS do, because it's a great scheme. It's there to provide so many different alternative routes of support. However, again, we're there to additionalize with that support. We're there to maybe bridge the gap with those services if there was less questions being asked by certain family members, because I know for me, I wasn't really inclusive of what was going on medically around me. I let my family and friends deal with that side, and I dealt with everything else, like the physical of doing the surgery and stuff like that. But there are families that are willing to ask questions, and for those that don't want to ask questions, we're there to bridge the gap so they have a better understanding of what they're going through, whether it's surgically, medically, pharmaceutically, either of those.
Okay, wonderful. That's fantastic. And the last question for you.
We got there.
Because we're 1 minute over my time.
Oh, bless.
But what it is in essence, what do you like to do? So do you have a hobby? How do you rejuvenate? Because you are dealing with a lot of different energies, and a lot of stressful and even perhaps emotional for yourself when you see with the situation.
The connection,
So how do you replenish yourself from this?
For me, it's a combination of a few things, to be fair. My children definitely keep me on the go. So once I've left whatever professional environment and then get back home, there's always some kind of element of, you know, the kids have been having... Oh,
we have a caller coming in.
We have a caller.
Greetings. Greetings, sis.
Am I too late, sister?
No, please do share your thoughts with us.
Yes, my sister.
Yes.
I hear you have a guest on.
Yes, I have Sister Georgina.
Hi, good evening, listener.
Amen. My name is Charlotte. Hi, Sister Georgina.
Good evening, Charlotte.
Good evening, Sister Charlotte.
We need more of this. We need more of this. We need more of this for the Lord to build his new nation.
Amen, we do, definitely.
Give thanks.
It's coming, don't worry. Not all Israelites are dead.
Yes, this is true, sis.
Uplifting and empowerment, here we come.
It's a blessing to hear your radio station, and I will definitely put it on my prayer list to grow.
Oh, give thanks, sis. Give thanks. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeshua will bless you. Yeshua will bless you. You're doing a good thing. As you know, from your working for the Lord, he's the best employer in the world.
Children of the God,
True, sis,
yes,
true.
definitely.
True.
Even if you don't get wages, he will take away the sin. So it's like getting wages anyway.
It's the same thing, I guess. It works hand in hand, doesn't it?
He works hand in hand.
Absolutely. Absolutely, sis. Absolutely. It's always important to have the Most High leading you in your higher consciousness at all times.
It is, definitely. And I think if we work as a community...
Sorry, sis?
The consciousness is always the way.
Yes.
Always.
I think we've lost the direction that we really are coming from. The God of Israel, the God that's very merciful, but he's quite demanding of you when you are calling him. You have to know who you're calling when you're calling our God.
Yes.
Amen.
He's a very demanding God. He expects you to do what you're supposed to do in his name and do it in righteousness' sake.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm so happy to hear you, Georgina.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
Thank you, Sister
wonderful.
Charlotte. Making me blush.
Oh, give thanks. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you, sis. Thank you. Is there anything you'd like to say about what we've been discussing tonight about the service that Georgina is providing?
Only that it's necessary, and it's been a long time coming.
Yes.
Definitely.
The necessity in Revelation tells you about the new church, the new order, and the new way of things that the old will be stripped off and And Georgina's a part of that new order.
I feel empowered. Oh my days. Thank you. That is so uplifting.
That's lovely.
Revelation. And what better place to be, Georgina, than to be a part of the Lord's revelation?
Amen. That's so beautiful.
Oh, that's wonderful. Wonderful.
Make me blush.
Oh, so she's blushing in Bless Radio.
Yes, she needs the message. Yeah, she's on the right path. What we need to do as fellowship, fellow sisters, fellow brothers, we need to help and uplift people like Georgina.
Yes.
And build what she's building, because she's the first brick. And you know what the Father said about the cornerstone?
Go ahead, sis.
She's the first brick.
Bricks and mortar.
Add bricks to her bricks.
Yes.
So eventually we build it up so high past the pyramid.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Absolutely. It's very important.
You go, Georgina, you got my blessings, my darling, and we're all behind you.
Thank you.
Sister Charlotte. That's much appreciated.
Sister Charlotte, can I ask you where you're calling from? London? Hertfordshire. Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you,
All
sis.
the way.
That's far.
I've got a few people listening.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, sis. Thank you. That's wonderful.
That's much appreciated.
Very much so.
Yes.
Thank
locked
you.
in. Stay locked in and stay tuned.
Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you, Sister Charlotte, for calling in and contributing to the Sister Lil show with Georgina here. Thank you. And have a very blessed evening and a blessed weekend. Give thanks for your message.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Give thanks. Give thanks. Thank
and
you.
the same to you, sis.
And for you, sis. Yes.
Bless you
Thank
too,
you.
Sister Charlotte. Bye for now.
Bye bye. What a beautiful message from Sister Charlotte there, showing her
That's power right
appreciation for what Georgina is trying to do here, and give thanks for your wonderful prayers for Bless Radio and for
Definitely.
Bless Management to guide this ship in the right direction, so we can continue to create spaces and a platform where people like Georgina within the community can come to us and actually share that with the rest of us, and actually make their profile raised so that others know they exist within the community, and that is there.
Pearls of wisdom, definitely. I mean, there is a website for anybody who does feel that they fit within the criteria, or even if they just want to have a chat just to see where exactly they could get support from or what they could get support with. We are on www.twohandsoneheart.co.uk, as well as Instagram, Twitter and Facebook.
Fantastic. Can I please ask you, Sister Georgina, just to repeat the website and the contact details, just for those who didn't catch what you were saying?
Yeah, sure, by all means. Again, we are on the website address is www.twohandsoneheart, that's HART as opposed to the traditional heart.co.uk. We are there if you wish to refer yourself, refer anybody, or even just to have a basic chat. We have a heartline as well, so once you go on the website you can leave your information and one of our team will get back in contact with you just to gauge a conversation. We are also on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook.
Oh, wonderful. This is fantastic. Give thanks, Sister Georgina, for coming in and being a part of Bless Radio this evening.
Thank you for having me here.
Oh, you're very, very welcome anytime, sis. Anytime on the Sister Lil show, for sure. And we want to give thanks to all the listeners out there and to Sister Charlotte for calling in and giving a contribution to this show tonight.
And her kind words too.
Yeah,
Great
absolutely.
stuff.
Wonderful. That was blessed words right there. And we want to wish you all a wonderful weekend. I'm going to play you out one last track. I'm signing out. I'm 10 minutes over my time. So thanks again, Sister Georgina.
Thank you.
And what a wonderful sister. Please do check out her website. And for those of you who do need that support, please do not be afraid to approach Sister Georgina's company.
Yes, we're here to support. We're here to help with a listening ear if need be, and whatever direction you need us to assist you with, we're here to do that too.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. And a great treasure trove in our community. This is amazing. So the last track I'm going to play for you is Isaiah Davis, and it's called Blessings.
Blessing. We give each other blessing. Blessing. So cool. Blessing. We give each other blessing.
Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, who standeth in the ways of sinners, and who sitteth in the seats of the scornful, but delights in the laws of Jah. But delights in the laws of Jah.
Blessing, blessing. We give each other blessing, blessing, blessing. We give each other blessing.
And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of the waters, that bring forth his fruits in his seasons. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he does shall he prosper.
Blessing. We give each other blessing.
It's a good
blessing.
thing you didn't tell me that before.
Blessing. We give each other blessing.
But oh no, the ungodly are not so, but are like a germ which the wind will drive away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in judgment, nor the sinner in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knoweth the ways of the righteous, but the ways of the ungodly shall perish.
Blessing, blessing. We give each other blessing, blessing, blessing. We give each other blessing.
O ye of evil minds and evil ways, you cannot stand in this Gideon. For this is a place for righteous ones, those with clean hearts and clean souls.
Blessing, blessing. We give each other blessing, blessing, blessing. We give each other blessing.
Wicked move ya!
We give each other blessing.
My daughter manages my content on my
blessing. We give each other blessing, blessing, blessing. We give each other blessing.
Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, who standeth in the ways of sinners, and who sitteth in the seats of the scornful, but delights in the laws of The Lord knoweth the ways of the righteous, but the ways of the ungodly shall perish.
No cigarette smoking in my room. Yeah. I still want Marley. Bless FM radio, playing good tune.
Power is the ability to define someone's reality and have that person accept that definition as if it were their own.
Everything was stripped from us. That's why we're so ignorant.